Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to connect a GeekServo to the Mould King Power Module. As you know, ordinary servos have only two positions, which is not very good for steering vehicles. This is full left, this is full right, and center is sometimes not in the center position. And this is the GeekServo. It is generally a basic servo motor, but it is packed in Technic compatible body, so it has pinholes and you can fix it in your vehicle. But it has 3-wire connector. It is pretty standard for servo motors. So one wire is ground, another wire is 5 volts, and the orange wire is the control signal. And this is not compatible with power function plugs, which are used in Mould King models. And in this video I will show you how you can connect this servo motor to this hub and get a very accurate steering. In my previous video I showed how to connect the ESP32 camera controller to this model, and the idea is to connect the servo also to this microcontroller and steer this servo. So now I'm going to show some schematics on the PC and explain how to do that. So this is the basic circuit to connect the ESP32 controller to the power function plug. There are two contacts with power. This is ground and this is power. And these are two contacts for the control signal for steering or throttle. So ESP32 controller powers with 5 volts, so you need a voltage regulator. If you use the camera, so you need a very powerful buck converter. Do not use this standard voltage regulator. It's drawn just because it was in the software. You should find some modern buck converter. And now this is the circuit to connect the GeekServo to the ESP32. It has some additional resistors here. It's basically a voltage divider. It's used because the control signal from the hub C1 and C2 are also 9 volt signals, and this board cannot handle 9 volt signals. So we need a voltage divider, which is shown here. So what the controller does is reads the signal from the controller and translates it to the signal that can be handled by the GeekServo. One more thing I need to tell you in this video is about using capacitors. Usually 2 capacitors are recommended near the voltage regulator, one on the input side and another on the output side, and the third capacitor near the servo motor. But if you use a modern buck converter, you can not use capacitors. Modern buck converter like N7805 is working good even without these ones. And I even do not use this capacitor near the servo motor. I don't know if the GeekServo has some internal capacitor or the power supply from the hub is quite powerful. But nothing bad happens if you do not use this capacitor. And the circuit is not so big, so you can even make it on a breadboard like this. There is quite a lot of soldering here, but it is possible to make it at home. And if you do not want to solder so many wires yourself, I have designed a small PCB which can be produced in a factory. So there are a lot of manufacturers. For example, you can go to PCB Way. This is just one of the manufacturers, but it's quite popular and quite comfortable to use. So you can order this PCB and save a lot of time on soldering. you will get something like this. This is just a PCB, and later I will solder some components over it. So you can compare the size. It's much smaller, and you will require much less soldering time with this one. So these are the components you need to build the GeekServo controller. The main component, of course, is the ESP32 controller. Here it is with the camera module. You can use just the controller without the camera if you do not plan to use the FPV. Next, this is the factory-made PCB to make the soldering process easier. So it has connections on the PCB. You will not require to solder these wires. Next, 2 pin headers. Each one has 8 pins. This is the buck converter or the voltage regulator, which is used to convert 9 volts from the hub to 5 volts used by the controller and by the servo. But if you are not going to use the camera, you can use an older voltage regulator like this. It's LM7805. It's old and it produces a lot of heat if the power usage is high, the case with the camera. But if no camera is used, the power from this old voltage regulator is enough for the GeekServo. But I will use this one. Next, this is pin header for the GeekServo, 3 pins. And this is the connector to the hub. It's a power functions plug. This was an extension cable, and I just soldered the connector on one side, and it will be going to connect the hub to the PCB. So this part is on the PCB side. So now I'm going to solder and show you how this works. So this is how a complete PCB looks like. Now I can connect the power plug. When you solder, please make sure that you solder the correct wires. The voltage wire is on the right side if you look on the top of the plug, so it's here and here. Next, I use these holes to connect the PCB to LEGO beams, so it can be fixed on my vehicle, and that's pretty good fix. Now I put the controller. It has an attached camera, but I will not cover the FPV functionality because there is a previous video about FPV. You can see it on my channel. Now it's time to connect the servo, something like this. And next I connect the plug to the hub. Now I turn on the hub, turn on the remote, and you see that it is proportional. I can also connect a standard servo to show you the difference. So the standard servo has just 3 positions, and the GeekServo has a lot of positions, which can make the steering very accurate. So if you liked the video, please push the like button, and if you have any comments, you're welcome, and thanks for watching.